And joining me now to discuss all of this is former Chief of Staff of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Ari Harow. Thank you for joining, Ari.
Hi, Sivan.
Good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Now, Prime Minister Netanyahu said Israel's military operations in Gaza will be wider and aim not at occupation, but at liberation. What does this mean in practice? What does Israel hope to achieve in this next stage, do you think?
Well, I think the first question we need to ask ourselves is, does Israel want to accomplish something before soldiers enter Gaza City? Obviously, and you see it in the report that you shared just previously about the pending talks in Egypt, where Hamas is sending representatives. Qatar has already sent representatives. Clearly, the intention of Israeli military force into Gaza City and some of the refugee camps has moved Hamas, at least somewhat, to reconsider the previous offers that have been on the table for a ceasefire. So I think number one is that there is a possibility of reaching some type of ceasefire and some type of agreement before Israel actually enters Gaza City. Now, if we do enter Gaza City, I think that the goals have been made very clear for quite some time from this government. Obviously, it's bringing back the hostages and it's bringing an end to Hamas and whatever that takes.
Mm-hmm. Now, Netanyahu reaffirmed the objective to complete the job against Hamas and to demilitarize Gaza. Do you believe that this is feasible?
Well, I think that instead of questioning the future, we can take a look back at what's taken place over the last, nearly 2 years. 70% of Gaza, and Prime Minister Netanyahu shared it during his press conference last night, 70% of Gaza is currently under Israeli military control. By definition, that would mean that Hamas is not in any type of position to politically or administratively control those areas. And it also means that Hamas cannot threaten Israel from those areas. So in any event, what we're seeing is that 70% has already been destroyed and has already been taken care of. So can Israel finish the last 30%? The question is yes, or rather the answer is yes. The question is, what price will Israel have to pay in order to accomplish that?
And the Prime Minister talks about a post-conflict Gaza being run by a civilian administration that's not tied to Israel and not Hamas, not the Palestinian Authority. Is this realistic, especially with more and more countries looking to recognize a Palestinian state, most likely with the Palestinian Authority in place?
So it's very interesting when you take a look at the international scene and the movement towards Palestinian statehood recognition. What's so interesting is that most of the countries that have come forward with these statements are Western countries. They're European countries or other Anglo countries from around the globe. The countries that have not made those types of statements are Arab countries and Middle Eastern countries. I think that there's a very different realization in this part of the world as to what a state that still allows Hamas to exist in it, how that would affect Israel and how it would affect the region. So I think that the possibility of Arab countries, of neighboring countries, Gulf countries playing a role certainly does exist. In what capacity, I can't quite tell you, but I think that it is very telling to see who is siding with Israel in the current situation and who is moving towards Palestinian recognition.
That's very interesting. Now, here in Israel, we saw large protests over the weekend. How much pressure do you think Netanyahu is under domestically? Is the public with him on this new move? Does it even matter?
So I think every poll from October 7th till today, when it's asked in a very straightforward question, do you want the hostages to come home immediately? The answer is pretty close to 100%, meaning the response of the Israeli people is we want the hostages home immediately. The divide really is what price do we have to pay in order to bring those home, number one. And number two is it even a realistic option? If you recall, just a few weeks ago, the President of the United States Special Envoy, Steve Witkoff, presented a plan that Qatar got behind, Egypt got behind, and Israel accepted. And Hamas turned it down. We have seen this play out over and over and over again, where Israel has agreed to make certain concessions, to pull back troops, and to release Palestinian terrorists in return for our hostages. And Hamas, with the backing of the Western countries that are now pushing for Palestinian recognition, have moved away from any type of concession on their part. So I think that the real question as to whether or not a deal can happen lies with Hamas and not with the decision makers in Jerusalem.
Thank you very much, Ari Harow, former Chief of Staff for Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Thanks, Ivan.